Plenty boy. Episode 7. How are you? Welcome.
Timo, fine, thanks yourself. What? I know I say this every single episode, but what a weekend of rugby we had.
Yes, it was interesting. It was very, very, very interesting.
Unfortunately, we're recording a bit earlier than usually. We're recording on a Sunday morning instead of a Sunday night, so we are gonna miss the Italy and France game, so we won't be talking about that one. We'll mention that one in our next episode. But I mean, so much rugby, so many highlights that we had to mention, go through. I've got my notes up in front of me. I hope I haven't missed or forgotten anything. So yeah, let's jump straight into it.
Yeah, just everybody. Our last episode, we had a lot of sound problems, but thanks for the people that still watched it in the comments and everything. We do appreciate all the good and the bad. And we just like to reiterate, it is just our opinions on stuff, though. We by no means anyway affiliated or professionals in this. It's merely an opinion-based show. And then yeah, our episodes are going to be a bit weird for the next couple of weeks or so because we've got the load shedding again, so that's changing our recording times, and we're trying to accommodate and fix everything in there. But enough about that. First match, Wales Island.
Are we starting Six Nations or URC?
No,
Six
let's start
Nations.
with the Six Nations. We'll go URC after that.
Oh, okay. Wales versus Ireland. Wales did lose the game, but they did definitely win best dressed because Ireland's kit was cock.
Oh no, it was bad. It was really bad. Just go for plain white. Maybe put in a green stripe or something. I mean, but looking like some toxic goblin threw up on your white kits doesn't help the situation. Wales did lose, but we finally saw Wales pitch up for a rugby match.
What and they looked so good. It's actually amazing to me that how they can go from I know obviously Warren Gatton left and there's a lot of changes that they made in the team, but how they can go from losing to Italy and then put up a performance like this, it was so good. They definitely, they were in the lead for I think most of the game, and I actually thought they were going to do it.
Yeah, I've got a lot of opinions. Didn't catch the whole game, but I watched the last couple of minutes, and for me, it felt like the ref was blowing that game for Ireland to win. There was almost no way for Ireland to lose that game with the amount of penalties the ref was blowing against Wales, and it's cynical penalties. I mean, there was a turnover ball where the whole Ireland team went off their feet, sealing the ball off. And they still got the penalty. I mean, so for me it's a bit ridiculous. You can't blow for one team to never lose a match. I have to say though, I'm looking at this in two ways. Either Wales have started their turnaround into World Rugby, or Ireland is just really in a very bad position and they don't even realize it yet.
Well, yeah, I think. I was glued to it. I couldn't leave. I thought this was going to be one of the more boring games, and I thought that Ireland were going to run over Wales, and it was going to be embarrassing. But I was glued to the TV. I couldn't. I honestly thought, Wales gave us all hope. I honestly thought they were going to do it. There's a lot of positives they can take from this. A lot of positives. They had set piece dominance. They won 3 out of their 4 scrums. They only they only lost 1 line out, whereas Ireland lost 4 of their 8 scrums and lost 2 of their lineouts. Wales actually had the best scrum in the competition, by the way. Just an interesting fact. They have an 86.67% win rate. Will Griff John looked great. It was his Six Nations debut. Within the second minute, he scrums against and wins a penalty against an experienced player like Andrew Porter. It's not often that we see a ref blowing against Andrew Porter. He usually gets away with a lot. Dirty scrummager, very dirty scrummager. But Will Griff John really had the upper hand or the better of him.
Yeah, that's the one thing I saw. Wales definitely had the upper hand when it came to the scrums. For the most part, Ireland, for me, I feel I'm just gonna mention this. We're gonna chat about it later, but I feel that Ireland and England got away with murder this weekend. I think they were very lucky to win their matches. Taking the England game, though, they're playing quality opposition. Ireland should have whitewashed Wales. It should have been
Yes.
at least 15 points, 15, between 15 and 20 points, and it wasn't. Wales pitched up for Rugby, and it was exciting to see them play again.
They had the whole stadium. What a beautiful stadium, by the way. They had that whole stadium singing for them. It like the whole country just got. I actually forgot that I'm South African for a moment, and I almost cried when Wales were doing so well. You know, it was it was beautiful. You know, they were so aggressive. They were carrying like beasts. They were defending like they were defending their country. They had a beautiful counter in the 31st minute. You know, and they looked so good with ball in hand, and they were so fluid, and they were making minimal handling errors whilst the ball was just flowing out wide. You know, Nicky Smith, he looked very good. He was taken off the field because his mouth guard was pressed down. You know, they have that if the mouth guard gets pressed down too hard, it signals for an HIA. He got called off the field. He was not having it. He was sweating and carrying on. And actually, the only scrum that Wales lost was when he was off the field, you know. So yeah, well done to him.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do think in the front, Wales didn't have a problem. In general, I think the thing for Wales was they actually just played rugby, and that's what we've been saying is they
Very
need to pitch
rugby.
up and just actually enjoy rugby, and Gatland took that away. I feel Gatland took that away, and I mean, if you go read the whole story back in the day with Louis Rizamet, why he left, it, you know, the brutality in the training that they had to face and all that. Now, Gatland, you know, was a legend coach, but I think he messed up his own career by staying too long, and he's going to be remembered for what he forced Wales to become, and to have Wales back where, you know, quality rugby starts where your Southern Hemisphere teams and your Northern Hemisphere teams are playing healthy rugby, strong rugby, you know, excessively attacking rugby and stuff like that. And Wales, if they can get back up there, and it seems like that's something that they would be able to do in the next 3 or 4 5 months, you know, just kind of regroup, get your coaching stuff, you know, in order, and move on and start building from there. I think we'll see it very, very, very different Wales when it comes to end of year tours, and possibly next year, maybe a team that could actually just compete for either something else other than the wooden spoon in the Six Nations.
Yeah, well, they, like I said before, you know, they're off to a very good start. I mean, 12th ranked team in the world, taking on the second ranked team in the world, and, you know, dominating in a lot of aspects of the game, you know. So, yeah, I think if this is how they're starting off in the new sort of chapter, they're going to be very dangerous. Give it a few more games, you know. Please change the Six Nations commentators. They are horrible. You know, they argue amongst each other. You know, they just say things that just really get under my skin. They're very biased. I don't know. I just and it's the same thing we had the last time with France. Was it France versus England? You know, the commentators are just horrid in the Six Nations. Really, you know.
Yeah, for me, it almost feels like it's a scripted scenario.
Yeah, and but the way they argue amongst each other, it's you know, it's like, yeah, people that have been friends for too long, and you know, I don't know. Anyways, Ellis Me looked very, very good on debut. I was so sad that his try got chalked off, because he thoroughly deserved to score a try with the performance he had. You know, 72nd minute, his try doesn't get awarded due to a knock on, and to me there was no knock on. And I'm open the footage so we can. I know that you said that.
The thing is, for if I was an Ireland supporter, it'd be a knock on. If I was a Wales supporter, it wouldn't be. I think the main thing we need to look at it when we look at that is what the ref said. Is he said he needs concrete evidence, he needs concrete proof that the try was not scored. So and I don't feel that there was concrete enough evidence that that try was not scored.
Yeah.
So the on-field decisions should have stood.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, was the on-field decision a try?
His on-field decision was a try. He clearly stated when he went to the TMO, on-field decision is a try. Obviously, then they need to give compelling evidence that the try was not scored. And having a look at that, the ball never left his hand. Yeah. So it cannot be considered a knock-on.
To me, if he had argued it wasn't a try because he was in touch before grounding the ball. I would have still understand, but the reasoning for the try being chalked off, like if you have a look at it, I'll put it up on the screen now. I'll play it here. It is me runs. They refer to the TMO. So there you can see, doesn't leave possession, doesn't look like a knock on to me, but to me his left arm is in touch. He puts the ball down short, and then it goes over the line. But by the time it touches the try line, his arm is already out. So there, you can make a compelling argument for that. But I just don't see him ever losing control of that ball. So yeah, I mean there it is again.
Hence I'm coming back. I'm saying this.
Yeah.
It's, for me, it comes down to that again. There was no way for Ireland to lose that match. The ref was blowing for Ireland to win that match. There was no way. They were going to scrutinize every millisecond of whatever happened in that last 15 to 20 minutes to ensure that Ireland win that match. And it's sickening in rugby. It's especially sickening, when people. I don't like accusing that, but there was just like about in the last 10 minutes alone. I mean, we were chatting on WhatsApp, and you saw me rant about that.
Yeah.
There was like 8 or 9 things that the ref blew Wales penalties against Wales for. That was just ridiculous. Luckily, Pendergrast is obviously Ireland's number one choice, and he can't kick for shit. I think he's probably the most overrated and overhyped player next to Anton Dupont at the moment. And I'm just looking forward to the day that James Lowe retires, because I'm really over his attitude and his cockiness now.
Yeah,
that's the one thing. Ireland have a dismal game against opposition that they should be smashing, and he still acts like they're winning the World Cup. The guy really needs to get fucking over himself. He's an embarrassment to his family and his rugby and everything. It's sickening. It's really sickening.
Well, okay. With that, I think the Jared Evans looked very good. If you look at the tries, the 2 tries that were scored, Jack Morgan gets over the line and scored the first try for Wales. Beautiful. No, he also deserved it. He's been probably one of the only informed player for Wales. When Wales was still in their dip. Blair Murray in the second try. Blair Murray runs a beautiful line, passes to Tom Rogers, and Tom Rogers is over. Over. He scores a try. I got a picture of your friend James Lowe actually behind him trying to catch him after he puts that try down. For Ireland, Jamison Gibson Park, man of the match. He is such a class player, isn't he? He's 33 years old today. Happy birthday, Jamison Gibson Park. If you are watching that, which I doubt you are. But who's his replacement? Is it Craig Casey? He's injured at the moment with a knee injury, and he always will be because he's very small. Is it Cannon Blade? He's been called up.
It will probably be Pendergrast. They're going to keep him in that team.
Cannon Blade, he is 30 years old, he only has 2 caps to his name. And when are they going to develop him? If not now. They haven't given him 1 cap, Ben Murphy, 23 years old, but he moved to Connacht, and we know how Ireland feel about their Leinster players. Ireland third try, James Lowe, he does that thing what he does, he does it so well. I know that you don't like him, but there is no doubt he is a brilliant player. He does that thing, he did the same thing against us. I'll put a clip on it actually, he did the same thing what he did against the Springboks, where, he keeps the ball in play. He the ball is about to go out, kicked out or passed out or whatever the case may be. He jumps, he hits it back in, and same as with the Springboks, I forget the fullback's name. He grabs ball and puts it down. So he's very, very good with that. Bandi Aki made a brilliant impact coming off the bench for Ringrose. Ringrose got red carded. That could have been a bit harsh. I don't know if
when it comes to Ireland, nothing is harsh, really. Look, and coming back to James Lowe, yes, James Lowe is a good player. He was average when he was playing, back in the day, playing for the Chiefs. His move to Ireland obviously changed something in him. He's a great wing and will probably be remembered for the wrong things. But you know, if you look at him as a rugby player, he's a great wing, but his attitude is a problem. You know, his
Yeah.
cockiness, he's full of himself. He still thinks Ireland won the World Cup. I don't know. It's like I'm sure this guy needs to be tested for something, because whatever he's taking is putting him in la la land,
Yeah.
and whatever the coach is taking, thinking that Prendergast is better than Crowley. You know, he needs to be tested for the same thing. I think they probably sit on Sundays and Mondays after the matches when they're supposed to be focusing, probably sniffing some stuff or something. I don't know, because it's just their way of doing things is very odd for me.
To me, though, I think that mentioning that World Cup, I think Ireland are handling the defeat in the World Cup much better than France are handling it. And like I've said many times, I do think that this Ireland team is on a downward slope. They don't really have the depth, that other top four countries have. Still a very good team. Still a very, very good team. Those New Zealand players are making, or the Southern Hemisphere players with Mac Hansen, the Australian, are making, a massive difference in that back line. But they're handling the defeat in the World Cup much better than France. I feel like France have just not recovered from that loss. I think they believe that World Cup was theirs. But anyways, moving on. Banyaki looks very, very good. He was a beast. He had a turnover that resulted in the penalty, and that penalty is actually what put Ireland in front in the 69th minute. Just once again, you know, um, Wales, they scored a try. They take the lead just on halftime, and then remain in the lead until the 70th minute. And I mean, that's against Ireland. The second ranked team in the world. Well done. Jack Conan looked very good. He was standing in for Karen Doris, who was injured. And I like Jack Conan. He scored the same try. I'm going to get it right this time. Was it against Scotland? Where he just runs over the line. And he did the same thing here, I mean, Jameson Gibson Park kicks a monster crossfield kick to James Lowe. No, wait, sorry, that's the wrong one. Jameson Gibson Park takes the ball out of the ruck, passes to Jack Conan. Jack Conan spots a mismatch and walks all over and Wales backline player to score the try in the 6th minute. Jamie Osborne, that's the guy that scored the try when James Lowe kept it in. So Ireland did look dangerous. I'm not saying that they look bad. I think they didn't look as good as they looked previously. But I think Wales were firing some proper shots, and I mean there was a part where one of the coaching staff from Ireland, you could see they were panicking. No, not the head coach, not Easterby, the other one, the bald-headed one. But after the second half, you can see this guy's running down, talking to the players. They're all in a big panic because I think they actually thought that this was it. But well done to Ireland for keeping cool heads, prevailing and not panicking and losing a game that they probably should have and could have very easily lost.
I feel that they're lucky. I still feel that they're lucky. I still think that being the second ranked team in the world and playing against a team that's not even ranked in the top 10 at the moment.
Yeah.
Having a victory like that, I would consider it a loss. And
Well,
for me again, why I'm saying that is that either you've got a problem, and this is where we spoke about this a couple of times now, and I don't want to harp on it, but they've lost that humble mentality that we've used to see back in the day, where Ireland, when Brian O'Driscoll and Ronan O'Gara and those guys were still playing, they had that humbleness. They were brutal on the field, but they had that humbleness about them. And then something changed, and I call it the Sexton mentality, where they just bitch and moan about everything. And on the field, and they complain and they play dirty and they do this and they do that, and it's Ireland for me is at the moment a sickening team for me. I have no respect for Irish rugby at the moment, and I've made this clear. Their mentality on the field, acting like they can walk on water. I'm really over it, and at the moment for me, Ireland is a bit of a disgrace to the game of rugby.
Yeah, strong opinions. I'm also not the biggest fan, but I can't look past how good they are playing at certain times. Like I said, I agree that they are on their way down on the downward spiral. Pendergast, I also agree with you where I said I think he's a bit overhyped. He did look good though. He missed 3 kicks. I still think Crowley is their man though. I think Crowley is their guy. I prefer Crowley over Pendergast. Prendergast did have a beautiful 50-22. Look, Prendergast didn't have a bad game. I'm not saying that. I just think like Crowley is the guy, and I think they're also overhyping Prendergast a bit. I do agree that Ireland are dirty players. A lot of them are, especially Andrew Porter. Joe McCarthy. You remember where he was playing the 9 against South Africa and nothing happened. Those players don't usually get blown. And it's good to see that the ref actually blew them this time. McCarthy slaps the ball out of the Wales player during a line-out, which eventually does get blown and penalty to Wales. But yeah, Ireland also had a disallowed try that was held up by Wales, so well done, to Wales for that. Brilliant effort, and it's good to see Wales are jumping back on the horse.
Yeah, it is good, and I think European rugby needs it. The stronger European rugby is, the better World Cups are. You don't want to see a World Cup where one team completely dominates.
100%.
You want that competition. You want to see the teams competing. You want to see, Ireland and South Africa and Wales and Scotland and England and New Zealand and Australia play 80 minutes of brutal rugby. Walk out of that.
Yes.
Walk off that field, and there's a points difference of 2 or 3 or 4. And it was just rugby that you wanted to watch, and I think with Wales back in the mix, that's rugby we can count on for the future.
100%. Wales looking good again just made this competition so much better. Now, I still don't think they have a chance to win it, but I mean that makes fixtures like next weekend, where they play Scotland, so much more interesting. And then again, where they play England, so much more interesting. So let's see, if they can actually pull it through. I think it would be a sort of a successful Wales, if you look at the form they've been in and their losing streak, if they could get the win over Scotland or England, and the fact that they did so well against Ireland. Then the next game,
I definitely agree with that. I think Wales should focus just on at least getting one win this season
100%.
in the Six Nations, or at least a draw to some extent. Yes, Scotland versus England, that was a surprising one for me.
That I have to agree. It was actually a very scrappy and messy game for me. It wasn't. Maybe it just didn't live up to the hype that, that Ireland and Wales caused. Directly after that game. But to me, it was a very, very scrappy game. There was a few brilliant moments. I mean, if you look at it, Scotland scored 3 tries to England's 1. They missed all the conversion kicks. That was Scotland's game. That was Scotland's game. I'm confused on how they lost that game. Hugh Jones looked very good. I think he's got the most tries in the comp. He started with Louis Bellet, that guy. Kinghorn looked very good, and Kinghorn is having a brilliant Six Nations. He's got the most carries in the comp with 58. He's got the most meters carried with 500. He's got the most meters gained with 365, and he has the most offloads with 8. He's having a very, very good comp. Jamie Ritchie looked good. Rory Dodge looked good. Finn Russell looked bad. I'm going to give this.
I maintain that, and I've said it.
You've said it. You have.
I think Scotland has probably got one of the most dangerous backlines when they click in the world, compared, pound for pound. And I think that they are being massacred because their coach, who was a legendary fly-off himself, continues to put in a fucking has-been in Finn Russell. Finn Russell is a has-been. He's over. He doesn't even perform for his franchise anymore. How do you choose this guy to be your number 10 for your national side if he can't even convert his kicks? 5 years ago, Finn Russell was marvelous. Now, I wouldn't even trust him to mow the lawn of a rugby field.
To me, I also agree. I agree, Finn Russell. I think that they are too reliant on Finn Russell. And what you're saying is 100% right. They've got such a dangerous backline in the names of Kingon, Hugh Jones, Duan, Darcy Graham. I know he's injured. Even Ben White. But your glue. Finn Russell, the one that's supposed to let him run wild, is not really doing that. He tries to do these little moves of individual brilliance, which 60% of the time doesn't work out. His kicking was very bad. That cost him the game. I'm not exactly sure how many kicks. I'll check how many kicks he missed. But he missed all his conversion kicks. But yeah. Anyways, Finn Russell. I think Scotland needs to focus on grooming a new 10. Duan van der Merwe looked brilliant. Duan van der Merwe always switches on against England. Who can forget? The hat-trick he scored against England. Was it the last Six Nations, the Six Nations before? He's so good. He looked so good. He was carrying like a monster. He scored a try. He had a try assist. So well done. Carl Rowe, who came in for Darcy Graham, looked good. Stafford McDowell looked so good. Stafford McDowell had a beautiful clean break that actually led to a try.
Yeah, I think for me, my power went out just shortly after the second half started. And for me, it looked like England was dominating up front a bit, but it just seemed like England didn't have an answer for the Scottish backline, and as good as the Scottish backline is, they're playing with a completely average fly off, which doesn't get them away. But if you look at that, if England's going to battle with that, and I think that makes it more significant, the victory over France, because I think France is a dangerous backline as well. I think South Africa is a dangerous backline, and I think New Zealand has a dangerous backline.
Yeah.
Looking at that, I mean, in that same scenario, if England was playing against one of those teams the way they were playing last night, I mean, it's going to be easy for France, New Zealand, South Africa to easily put 30, 40 points on them if they were playing like that. Their backline, for me, the English backline was just so average. They were so average.
Finn Smith looked good for me, but yeah, yes, I get what you're saying.
Finn Smith is looking good because I feel he's something new, and he's definitely trying. He's trying to make his stamp on the game. He's putting in the meters. He's putting in the yards. He's obviously he's fresh. Marcus Smith, on the other hand, for me, was very quiet. But I think that was also by design. I think Scotland just kept him out of the game as much as they possibly could.
Yeah, I agree.
And look, Scotland's coaching is on point. Don't get me wrong, because they're obviously there. I mean, you still go and lose against England with minimal points, and the thing that you need to look at when you look at that is after the match go and say, okay, where did we mess up? And if nobody points a finger at Finn Russell, then there's a mental problem in the Scottish camp, and they should stop training for a week and all go and do some brain scans and stuff. Because you've got a player that's costing you match after match after match after match. The pundits are saying it. The general public like us that's making podcasts are saying it. Everybody's saying it, but for some unknown reason, people in Scotland just can't fucking see it. So I don't understand that at all.
Well, I do. I think he is getting a lot of hate from the public as well. But yeah, I agree. And the fact that the point that you're making about how dangerous the Scotland's backline is amplified with the tries they scored. I mean, if you look at the first try, Duan passes to Kingon recycles to Tom Jordan, and Jordan passes to Ben White, and he's over. Scotland scores in the third minute. Second one, Dave Cherry throws the ball in from the line out. The ball gets passed wide. They did that so well this game. Duan passed to Hugh Jones, and Hugh Jones beats his man to score on the 18th minute. The third try, Tom Jordan, all of these from backline players. All of them is just such hard worked, good tries from that electric backline. You know, Tom Jordan passes to Stafford McDowell. McDowell breaks a beautiful line. You know, he makes a run for it. Eventually gets put down by Chesham. Jamie Dobby takes the ball out of the ruck, passes to Russell to Kinghorn, and Kinghorn to Duan, and then they scored the third try in the 78th minute. You know, so yeah, 100% what you're saying there. For England, Ben Earl looked very good for me. Had a few very good carries. You know, I think Tom Curry got injured, and then Ben Earl moved down to the 8th man. But yeah, Ben Earl looked very good for me. Both Curry brothers looked very good. You know, I forget the other brother, the other Curry brother's name. When he came off of the bench, I think he had a
Tom Curry. Yeah.
What is that? No, Tom is the what is the other one?
No, I don't know.
Ben Curry.
Yeah. Look, the Curry brothers definitely surprised me this season. I was very critical, you know, about them. Obviously, when we started and we were building up the Six Nations and stuff, I was very, very critical about them. And you know, it was they surprising me. They definitely deserve their position in that team, and it's a pity that they got injured because the one just came on and then the other one goes off, you know. So, but
Yeah,
you know, lucky for them, there was always Curry on the field,
which they needed.
Yes, Ben Earl, I still rate him. I still rate him quite highly. I like the fact that he's always, you know, trying to be physical. I just don't get how such a big guy is kind of always pushed back though. When it comes to contact, I think for me it just always feels like he's not gaining the meters that a guy of his size and stature should be gaining.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned Finn Smith though, and I see the stats you've made. 16 tackles. You know, for someone in the fly-off channel, 16 tackles is a lot of tackles to make.
Yes, it's
a lot of tackles to make.
And he had a brilliant tackle, in a very dominant tackle. I can't remember on who it was. I'll find the clip. But Finn Smith, he looked very, very good. And what you're saying is 100% correct. 16 tackles for fly-off. I think he had the most tackles for England. You know, he looked so good. I think he's actually Scottish. The commentators mentioned, and I read it on Twitter. And you can see, apparently his father said, you know, he wished that he actually played for Scotland. But they were very behind him, you know, in this game. You can see how
I think with the way Finn Russell's playing, I think everybody wishes he would be playing for Scotland.
Yeah, 100%. Marcus Smith wasn't looking too hard for me either. You mentioned it before. He did make a massive line break though, you know. But I don't think he was firing the shots that he usually does. But yeah, overall, very stop-start, very scrappy game. Scotland missed a lot of opportunities. You know, Scotland were the better team on the day. They had 58% possession, 57% territory. They made 507 meters to England's 322. They scored 3 tries to England's 1, but missed all their conversions and made too many handling errors, which I think ultimately cost them the game.
No, for sure. I think that's why I said, you know, at the beginning of the show, I think both Ireland and England were, you know, they had a lucky weekend. This was their weekend of luck. I feel England was outplayed for most part of that game, much like Ireland was outplayed. I just think that, you know, we discussed this, a good team will always get a positive result, and you know, that's what Ireland did, that's what England did. They got the positive results. They ended up, you know, doing the job, getting the job done, and keeping themselves, you know, in contention for, you know, obviously Ireland going, you know, three-peat, and England keeping themselves in the mix. To, you know, should Ireland, you know, there's still their match against France, that could be a deciding factor, and I feel England has put themselves in a very good position to, you know, to still be up there and potentially, you know, just maybe pull a massive rabbit out of that. But yeah.
Next game, the URC game, the Bulls versus Lions. Bulls are looking much better. You know, still a lot that they need to improve on. You know, the Lions are firing a lot of shots, but I think ultimately they just made, you know, too many mistakes. You know, they conceded too many penalties and just had too many handling errors. I mean, when the game started, I thought the Bulls. I mean, this was the Bulls game. On the second minute, Embrose Papier takes the ball out of the ruck. Willie throws a beautiful pass to Moody. Moody beats three or four defenders and scores a try. On the 8th minute, Emrose passes to Willie. Willie breaks the line. Willie had a brilliant game. He really had. Breaks the line and scores a beautiful try. The 12th minute, Devin Williams breaks the line between the two Lions centers, kicks the ball. Sebastian de Klerk, the guy that you always carry on about, catches the ball and scores. So after these three tries in 12 minutes, it would be, you would assume that this is GG's. The Bulls won this game and the Lions, might as well stop now. But the Lions, someone forgot to tell them that they were losing because they just clawed back. On the 20th minute, Edwin van der Merwe kicks the ball. Edwin van der Merwe had a good game for me. He kicks the ball, chases, then catches his own ball before being taken down by Emrose Papier. Stedman Gans then concedes a penalty at the ruck, and Henke van Wyk decides to tap and go and powers over the line. Then again, 26th minute, Lions are on the 5-meter line. Etienne Oosthuizen, I think, is in very good form. Passes to Pierre Botha. Pierre Botha carries the ball and over to score. 45th minute, Willie again. Willie passes Sebastian de Klerk. De Klerk draws two defenders, passes to Devin Williams, and William passes to Moody, who scores his second try. And then Marco van Saren scores, goes over the line, with that, where they carry over the 67th minute, Lions come back. Mornay takes the ball out of the scrum, 5 meters out from the line, passes it to Gianni Lombard, who also looked very good to me. Recycles it to Quain. Quain passes to Creel, who goes over, and then there was also a lot of disallowed tries, and we're gonna get to them now. The Bulls had 1, and I think the Lions had 2, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah.
Yeah, look, it's Derby Rugby, so it was interesting, and you're looking at a lot of it because I do feel, and we discussed it, in the other episodes when we were looking at the invitational teams and the training camps and whatnot. You had probably your two, behind Grant Williams, the two most obvious choices at scrum half playing in this match, and I still think Embrose Papier was better, the better scrum half and whatnot. Sebastian de Klerk, I still rate him very highly. Coming back, Sebastian de Klerk, rate him high. I definitely think he's definitely the future. He might not be as good as Jason Colby, right now, but I think that number 14 jersey for me would, if I was the Springbok coach, would easily go to him. But it was fresh rugby. The Lions were always going to fight back, and that's one thing that the Lions have always had that very few other teams possess. It's just that ability to not stop, and for that I'll give them a lot of credit.
Yeah,
I just think they were outplayed on the day, and it it almost looked for me. To me, it looked like the Lions were fatigued.
Yeah,
it looked like the Lions were tired.
Yeah, there's no denying the Bulls were the better team. I think you can complain about the ref, and I'm going to be bashing about the ref in a bit. But at the end of the day, it's 5 tries to 3. So I honestly think that the Bulls, were the better team on the day. And that's saying the Bulls were not at their best. I also don't think the Lions were at their best. But yeah, anyways. To me, for the Bulls side, Marco van Saren looked very, very good. I've said it many times, and I've had arguments about it because I know Marco van Saren can make a lot of handling errors, but he is such a physical and angry player, So he made 18 tackles. He scored a try. He won a turnover. To me, he was the man of the match. I'll be honest. And people can argue with me about that if they want, but I honestly think Marco van Saren was my man of the match. Devin Williams was good. He had 2 clean breaks, 2 try assists, but he's lacking on defense. And he made 2 tackles and he missed one of them. But still, very good game. Stedman Gans, he was hot and cold for me. He was man of the match. I'm not really sure how. He had 2 forward passes, only 1 picked up by the ref, but made a few breaks and looked. He looked very alive at times. Emrose Papier looked good. He had a try assist. Mpilo Gomede looked very good. He's no Cameron Hanekom, but he is being underutilized. He is definitely being underutilized by the Bulls. Sebastian de Klerk, who we've just mentioned, looked very good. He scored a try. He's very good under the high ball. That battle between him and Edwell under the high ball was beautiful. I think Edwell edged him though under the high ball, but still very good. Jan Grobler looked very good. So yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. But at the end of the day, it comes down to that. It's derby rugby, so it's going to be 180% that's going into that match every time. So the Marco van Staden making 18 tackles and all that doesn't even surprise me. I don't think that guy feels pain. I think he's a bit.
He looks like
away.
It looks like someone just swore his mother, and that person is on the field and he's out to get him. But he's a beast.
And he's built like a RDP shithouse. He's immovable. I looked at his legs the other day. They were showing highlights of him, and I don't know. That guy's he's built different, But it's good for us because he's playing in the green and gold. So it's good for us. Jan Grobler as well. I think we're lacking in that department at the moment.
Yeah,
and and he's stepping up, which is good. I mean, for me, looking in a Springbok perspective, Bonke is not really on form. We've got Malcolm, but there's nothing really after Malcolm, that stands out from the other unions, except for Jan Grobler, and that's good. So if he looks good, it means that, there's hope and there's potential for us to have at least two decent hookers that go onto the field, But it was a good game. It was exciting.
It was a lucky game, yeah.
Always with the Lions, it's always going to be exciting. They're not my team, but it's always fun to watch the Lions because they're always busy. Yeah. They're always busy.
Yeah, they have players like Edel. Edel looks very good for me, And we spoke about that kick he made, catch his own kick that led to Henko van Wyck's try. Henko van Wyk looked very good. He was a beast. He scored a try. He had some beautiful carries. Gianni Lombard, I got some flack for giving him shit the last time he played. But this week, there's no denying he looked very, very weak. He was very impressive. Quinn looked good. He didn't have the fire he had the previous weekend, though he did still look good. He just didn't look as hot as he looked against the Stormers. Renzo du Plessis looked good. He's really. I mean, there was a lot of questions on why he was called up for the. He's having so little games in the URC. But he's making a statement. He's trying to prove wrong. Getting to Renzo du Plessis, the ref. I feel and I think the name Amy Barrett is her name. She's getting a lot of praise and what a good ref she is. I think it's going both sides. I've seen a lot of good comments and a lot of bad comments. To me, she was shit. I'll be honest with you. I don't think she's, and not just that. I think the whole officiating team was dreadful. They missed a lot of things on both sides. So a lot of people are saying that she was very favourable to the Bulls. I don't think so. I think she was just bad overall, She missed a forward pass from Stedman Gans in the 7th minute, and was a blatant forward pass. He actually passed forward twice. The second time he got pinged for it, Missed the high tackles by the Bulls, Then we've got this one, and I'll never understand this one. So they have a disallowed try from Gambilo Gumede. That was a try. I'll bring it up now. We'll have a look at it now, but there's no ways this is not a try. I actually saved the footage here. So here's the video. Okay, it's playing. It jumps over. Brilliant. So she calls for the TMO to have a look at it. The TMO. He brings it up the screen. Firstly, there you can see Gambilo Gumede puts the ball down. Then underneath Edwell's leg, you can see the ball gets put down, but it still gets disallowed. No, and it feels like they barely looked at it. I took some stills of it here. So here's the one. Okay, there I believe the ball is down already. But if you want even more compelling evidence than this, there, look at underneath Edwell's leg, and I circled it there. You can see the ball is clearly grounded, but it was disallowed. So I think the officiating team got that wrong. I felt like they didn't spend enough time to look at it. At the end of it, it probably wouldn't have made a difference. But still, I mean, if it was a tighter game, the Bulls could have been looked back at that. If the game had went the other way, they could have looked back at it and been very very sour about it. And you know how vocal Jake White can get.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. If I was a coach, I would have been vocal about things like that as well. I just feel in the age where we are now, with the technology that we've got available, and everything, making idiotic calls like that, whether irrelevant, of who the ref was, if an idiotic call like that is made, if that was a World Cup final or a Yoshi final and that call was made and it was a 1 point game, for me that's bullshit. There's no excuse for lackluster performing and whatnot anymore. They came in, they brought in the women refs, everybody was fine with it. We agreed with it. And I mean, for the most part, they do okay, all right? And there's rugby players have that mutual respect for the referee that we've discussed before, where soccer players don't, for example. Rugby players always respect the whistle, okay? But when you do stuff like this, it really depicts it badly. It reflects badly, and it just looks like you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So get rid of these problems. If a ref doesn't perform, okay, then we need to get rid of them. Do you honestly want to tell me that we do not have enough referees in the world, that we need to stick with the same shit all the time? If you don't perform, you're out. And I mean, it's clear indications there was a water try. It went to the TMO. The TMO had a look at it. So the TMO could have said, listen, this ball is clearly grounded, or there's not sufficient evidence that it wasn't grounded, which he didn't do. So the TMO was shit as well, And I'm tired of this. And it was a whole weekend. I mean, the last 10 minutes of the Ireland match was dismal. It was dismal.
There should be consequence.
There should be consequences, and I don't think there should be consequences of, don't blow a game, or don't ref a game. It should be financial consequences. They should be forced to, in situations like that, go and have to ref 3 games without salary or whatever the case might be, like that. There needs to be a consequence, after this.
Yeah. There is a documentary, funny enough, talking about refs. I think it was called After the Whistle or something about the whistle. It's on Rugby Pass, and I watched it. It is actually very, very good. And they do explain that refs work on sort of a pointing system, and that if they do make errors or wrong calls, it goes against them, and they get less games, to ref. So yeah, I don't know. I just don't think, I don't know if Amy Barrett. I doubt that she has refed. Refed a international game yet. But I honestly don't think she should. Then there is Renzo du Plessis, his try got disallowed. Okay, in all fairness, this try, probably should have gotten, disallowed. Renzo du Plessis did score a beautiful, hard-working try. And then they went back. He goes over the line, he scores a try, and after the try was scored, they go back, and it was a croc roll from, I forget the player's name. It was a croc roll from, I can forget the player. Anyways, it was a croc roll, okay? And then after that, Morgan Odier, that was him, sorry. Morgan Odier. It was a croc roll. Morgan Odier croc rolled one of the Bulls players, I can't remember which one, and the try was disallowed. Rules are rules, I understand that, But still, a very, very good try from Renzo du Plessis that he's probably going to be very sour they lost. Then there was a second one. I can't find footage of this. I just see it on my notes, where a Lions try got disallowed for knock-on. And on my notes here, I wrote no knock-on. So I don't know. I can't find footage of that. And there was so much rugby that I actually forgot about.
It's also a case again now of it's the officiating, and I still feel that I'm going to say this. You're in a position as a referee where you can call on the TMO. TMO can properly review the footage, and then I look at them reviewing the footage, and they still make bullshit calls. So either they need to get them better screens there. I don't know, maybe they're working on old CCTV screens. Maybe the room isn't well lit. I don't know. Maybe the TMO has no idea, what is
load shedding. Maybe there was load shedding.
Yeah, and for me it's a disgrace, Yeah. There's no excuse. There's no excuse for poor refereeing. If you're uncertain, go to the TMO. Make the correct call.
But he was also
see.
making such stupid calls. But yeah, I get what you're saying. My overall thoughts, and then you can give me your overall thoughts of the game. My overall thoughts is the Lions looked dangerous on attack, but just conceded too many penalties and had too many handling errors. Lions conceded 14 penalties and the Bulls 5. They made 12 handling errors and the Bulls 7. Lions were in it. The Bulls scored 3 unanswered tries, and I thought, that was that. But Lions kept on clawing back and putting in a hell of a fight. Bulls set piece looked very good, especially the scrum. But ultimately, the Bulls were far from their best, but they got the job done convincingly. The Lions put a massive battle, but have to work on discipline. The Lions will be disappointed that they could not get any table points from this game, as I feel like. Given where they are in the table, they need all the points they can get, And if you look at the table, actually, now that we're on that subject, I think the Lions are 13th. I always get that wrong, but let me just double check that. So the Lions are 12th on the log. They've lost half their games. They've played 10. They've lost 5. The Bulls are 3rd. This was a much bigger game for the Lions than the Bulls. Even if the Bulls had lost this game, they probably would have still retained the 3rd place position. Whereas the Lions probably would have shot up into the top 8. We're going to this 12th round now, if I'm not mistaken. We only have 18 rounds before knockoffs. The Lions need to start doing something. Them and the Stormers are the two South African teams that really need to start pulling up their socks if they want to make those playoffs. I actually created and I'll pull it up as well. I created a same like I did with the Lions, with the Stormers and the Sharks. I created a roadmap basically. So the Lions versus the Sharks the next game in round 12. I think that, in my opinion, I think the Lions lose that one. They have it at home. I think the Sharks will edge them. Just going on with what I said last time, I think the Sharks are in good form. They've got a lot of players that are returning from injury. They will just bolster that team. Then we've got Sharks versus Lions away. In the Shark Tank. I think the Sharks are going to smash them by 12 points. We know how strong the Sharks can be at home. They've beaten all 3 of the previous URC champions at home this season. They beat Glasgow Warriors convincingly, Munster convincingly, and the Stormers, not so convincingly, but they beat them at home. So this is where I think the Lions will start winning. They've got Cardiff up next after the Sharks. They've got Cardiff away, where I think the Bulls will win that one. I think they got Benetton at home, they'll win that one. They've got Connacht at home, they'll win that one. There's Scarlet at home, they win that one. And Ospreys at home, they win. So ultimately, if it goes per prediction, we know that it probably won't, and it's very impossible. I think they can milk 25 points off of this. Will this be enough table points for them to reach that 8th position, or in the top 8? At least.
I honestly don't think that both the Stormers and the Lions are going to reach the playoffs. I don't think so. But I do think the Lions have it in them to do it. I just don't see the Stormers achieving it at the moment. I think the Lions are gonna finish in the top 8. The big thing for the Lions is they're probably going to end up playing all their away games. Because they're probably going to end up in 8th or 7th position. So that means they're going to probably end up playing. It's away quarter, it's away semi, it's away final. Should they go that far? They get 2 matches against the Sharks. It's going to be very, very brutal.
And the Sharks will take a lot of confidence from their win over the Bulls at Loftus, So let's see. Yeah, let's end it on that. We've got a lot of upcoming games next weekend. Our next episode will preview the rest of the URC games, and then round 4, I think, of the Six Nations as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. Look, this weekend was good. I think next weekend's going to be better. More rugby for us to chat about. But yeah, it was a good weekend of rugby. There was some matches. The Bulls Lions game was good. All the matches were good. Very surprising matches. Let me put it that way. It was very surprising, especially in the Six Nations. And I do think the Lions will end up going into the playoffs ahead of the Stormers. I think they've just got that mentality about them at the moment. you mentioned it now, the fight back against the Bulls. That's the Lions. That's Lions rugby. It's that fighting spirit, and the Lions will fight for as long as that ref doesn't blow the final whistle. That the Lions will be fighting, and that's always a good sign of the Lions.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you so much, guys. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and then we'll see you guys next week.
Yes, and comment.
And comment. No, no hateful comments.
Oh, do hateful comments? We don't care.
All right.
All right,
Cool.
cheers.
Bye.